meeting. So how we intend to go about is we'll give you something like 20 minutes. I hope that would be enough. To begin with, you can introduce yourself and then you can continue your presentation or whatever you have. And following that, I will invite members if they have any questions or clarifications. So let's start. So I'll hand over the mic to you.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for giving us this meeting on such short notice. First of all, I'd like to introduce the participants from our end. We have with us Mark Linus. Mark Linus is our international consultant, and he works on a global scale on areas relating to environmental issues and climate change. We also have with us Ahmed Naeem, who is our program coordinator and part of the WFP Maldives team. And my name is Arij, and I am the country representative for WFP Maldives. Just an introduction of WFP, because I don't think we have had a formal arrangement with the committee, with the Climate Change Committee yet. WFP is a UK public body. We work towards strengthening democracy, and we have about programs in about 30 plus countries worldwide. And we started our work in the Maldives in 2019, and currently we're working under the CSS Conflict Stability and Security Fund, and we've been working closely with the Parliament, especially the Secretariat. And the thematic focus areas under CSSF is in this project is focused on climate change, gender, human rights, and also national security. We've had different activities under this, mostly with other committees. We've provided technical expertise to the National Security Committee in the inquiry report they had last year in regards to the assassination attempt of the speaker. We've also started an e-course with the help of a Canadian university, McGill University, on post-legislative scrutiny and the parliament process, which a lot of parliamentary officials are actually participating in right now. We also hosted one study visit previously, and we'll be hosting another one next month for committee chairs to visit the UK and go to the House of Commons and meet with colleagues in their parliament as well, and have a knowledge sharing experience with them as well. So that's a little bit of a short introduction of the work that we're doing. For this meeting, we are really looking at what the Environmental and Climate Change Committee is doing for this year, how your work is going, what is being planned in the works in regards to the committee works, and what are your priority areas for this year, and what kind of assistance that we can provide in regards to the work that you've been doing. I will also hand over the mic to Ahmed just to give you an idea of the kind of work we've been doing with committees, with the Parliament in the past few months. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Arij. I'll just take roughly maybe a few minutes just to go through some of the works we have done with some of the committees of the Majlis. Since 2019, we have worked with Human Rights and Gender Committee, and later with Security Committee on National Security as well. And we have also engaged with Climate Change Committee as well in a visit to UK in 2019 October, if I am not wrong. And we have assisted committees in various ways, sometimes with the inquiries, sometimes with assessments that are related to inquiries, and sometimes with some of the briefings or sessions for parliamentary officials that would help assist members to conduct inquiries efficiently. And some of the other work we did includes preparation and writing of a committee guideline, which we have shared with the Majlis, and the committee guideline is a guideline for all the committees and officials which they can apply during their work, and it's available in both Diwali and English. And our current program it includes we work on around 3 thematic areas, and climate change is one of the main thematic areas of the current program. And we, as Arij mentioned, apart from Parliament and committees, we also engage with civil society organizations and media, so that they will be on board. They'll be aware of what Parliament and the committees are doing, and on board in order to align the priority areas of both the parties. I think this briefly about what we have done in the past with committees and overall Parliament. Thank you.
So I hope that was a sufficient introduction from our end. I just wanted to start off with a general question regarding the committee's work, and especially just highlighting in regards to COP26 and the commitments of the Maldives in regards to the COP26, and what has been the Climate Change Committee's role in sort of holding the government accountable in regards to those commitments, or just in general, what are the works currently under the committee right now?
Okay, thank you for the introduction, and thank you for organizing this event. I think what you've just said is very useful. If you don't have a foreigner attending this meeting, I hope you don't mind. Some of our members, if they so wish, they could speak in Diwali. I think that would be okay.
We do have more methods, but I can translate some of the. If it is more, I can translate some of the details in the chat for Mark while they are stating their statements. Is that all right?
Yeah. I think that's perfectly all right. But just to start, I would make few remarks in English, so Mark is also in line with us. I don't think we should be going too much detail into how committees function, since you've said you are keeping a very close watch on some of the committees here, and you know, generally work is assigned to committees, to various committees by the speaker. We have before us a huge document, which is a quite recent introduction to Majlis. This is on endangered species. I think as a fulfillment of the CITES Convention. So the bill is right before us, and we will be soon starting to debate on this bill in the committee. We've recently completed the Climate Emergency Act, Water Storage Act, and Energy Act. These are like very, very important legislations the committee worked on, and we were able to complete the work last year. And now, as part of the committee work, we will be reviewing some of the legislations, and we will be inviting the relevant government agencies to find out what sort of I think these are quite recent ones, and we should, I think, leave some time for them to get the experience. And I tend to think that it would at least take a year or so for us to get a proper review done. Also in the Parliament right now is amendments to the Water and Sewerage Act. It hasn't come to committee yet. It's in the floor right now, and I'm hoping that it will come to the committee, because that was a piece of work that we completed in this committee. I will also invite other members. We have a good representation today here. I will ask others if they have anything to add at this moment. I'll pass the floor if anyone wants to say anything. Okay, if you have any specific questions, we don't have an agenda as such. Okay, our work is mostly reactive, but sometimes members can, of course, bring issues to the committee. But most of the members here also represented in many other committees. They are overwhelmed, actually. I mean, at least in my case, I work in 3 other committees, so there's always enough work to do for each of these members. So very hard to, find time to bring our own issues to committees and debate on it, and we have bills and motions and other work that comes to regular flow, and that is passed to committees. So we have enough work, actually, but not necessarily we work on a particular agenda also.
Okay. Just to follow up on the first, that you did mention that you are reviewing some legislations within the year or so. Can you specify which legislations these are? Is it the Climate Emergency Act and the Energy Act, the recent ones that have come into force?
Can you repeat what you just said?
Sorry, you mentioning that you were planning on reviewing some legislations within the next year. Would it be specifically the Climate Emergency Act, Energy Act? Do you have a specific list of acts that you are planning on reviewing?
Well, legislative review is a separate area of work, actually. It's not a review as such, but we're going to have series of meetings with relevant stakeholders and find out their experiences. I think it's premature to say, we will have to review this legislation at this moment in time. But I'm sure they probably would have gained some experience in trying to implement, and this is something we do hear from colleagues working in the government. There are some areas of difficulties, and we would like to know where we can help them. About Energy Act and Climate Emergency Act, you would know that we have a quite ambitious climate target of 2030, right? We intend to go carbon neutral by 2030 or climate neutral by 2030, which is quite an ambitious target. And for that to achieve, a lot of things need to be done, and many players will have to be on board, and a lot of work needs to be done. And that's something specifically we will be looking at, where the challenges are, where the opportunities lie, and I think soon we will be looking into how the government is progressing in regards to that particular target. I have a colleague, Ali Hussain, would like to say something.
Is that Ahmad? I just want to ask before I say. Ahmad, right? Okay. I think I wasn't here when you had the introduction, and when you introduced yourself, I was like, hey, what you guys are doing over there? And I just looked into the agenda, and then I asked the chair, what's the meeting about? I think if we do anything by this committee or like from your organization, it should be like one thing fundamentally that we are losing focus is that environment has still never become an election issue, not in Maldives, not anywhere in the world. It just has become something like fashionable to talk about, something nice to talk about. And when it comes to like developmental projects or whatever it is, nobody bothers actually. Nobody bothers. Like not only Maldivians, none of the countries, none of the organizations, nobody cares. But we all talk. So I think if we do anything, we have to make sure that it becomes an election issue by 2023, and it becomes a serious issue. And it becomes an issue where people would be swaying their votes to either this side or that side based on environment. I think that should be the focus at this moment, from NGOs where you are working, and even this committee has to work to that direction. I think we have to make it an issue. Otherwise, the politicians who are contesting, they are not going to bother. They are not going to be bothered about it. And then the people, obviously, for us, their priorities are different. So, if we do one thing, I think that is something that we have to be focusing on ourselves.
Thank you. Just to follow up on what you mentioned, and I was just thinking, there's a lot of incidents relating to development projects that are coming up regarding environmental issues in regards to those development projects, and some of these are taken into the parliament and taken into your committees as well. Do you face any difficulties in regards to getting expertise or getting the kind of research and information that you require to carry on inquiries relating to these kind of projects? So I understand that a lot of work that you have to do is reactive because these kind of things pop up every now and then. Do you feel like there are any obstacles to the work that you do in the committee level? Any kind of technical expertise or any kind of procedural issues that you're facing currently?
It again depends on the nature of issues that we get. For example, the bill right now before us, which is on endangered species, as we study and as we go along, we might need some technical assistance. Not all of us need to be trained in specialist areas related to environment. So there are cases where we might need, assistance, and it would be good to have such a resource available in case we need it. But again, very much depends on the issue in discussion and the type of bills that or motions that a member may submit. So far, we have been able to manage, proper well, I would say. But you never know. It's a very complicated and needing sometimes specific expertise and experiences. You would never know. We might need it.
Yeah, I completely understand because this is such a. Your work is very diverse, and obviously that would require a lot of different diverse areas of information. Mark, do you have any questions or comments that you'd like to add in?
No, only that obviously I met the committee with the CVF already, with Matthew. I know the committee met with Patrick from the GCA. So there's a lot of different streams of work related to climate, energy, climate adaptation, and I think it would just be nice to be able to bring them together so that we're not doing multiple different things, some of which overlap. And we'll take the committee's direction on that, as well as that from Speaker Nasheed. But if the committee chair and members think of us as the sort of technical support bureau in whatever area is useful, our expertise extends from climate to other areas of environment as well, whether it's waste or water and sewage or energy or endangered species. So we can broaden our support out from climate if that's useful.
That's really very good, and appreciate that help, Mark. I remember, when we initially started working on climate change bill, we were a little bit stuck, and we wanted some help, and I recall requesting for some assistance from your organization back then, but it wasn't readily available at that time. But I'm sure it won't be the case in future. Technical assistance are always welcome, and we need it. For instance, when we think of studying the impact of the legislation on climate change, there might be a systematic approach that you may be aware of, and we would be happy to know it. And in addition to that, members, I'm sure, are in the study mode, and they always would want to get experiences and knowledge on how committees function and how we work on bills and how we do proper reviews and things like that. So we would always welcome technical assistance.
That's great to hear. Ahmed, Mark, do you have any more additional questions?
My only further query would be regarding how the Climate Emergency Act is operationalized. When I was in the Majlis, we discussed a bit about Ministry needing to present the first carbon budget. I've been in touch with the State Minister about doing that. I don't think it needs to be a huge, complicated piece of work. It's essentially a policy decision about the trajectory towards carbon neutral in 2030 and how the different sectors operationalize that. But it seems to me that the committee is going to have to take quite a strong supervisory role if the Ministry is to accelerate the timetable here, because my understanding is that they're already falling behind. So again, if it's useful to try to see how that can be pursued so that we don't fall further and further behind the schedule, because it's 2022, we've only got 8 years supposedly to become carbon neutral. The CVF has obviously been engaged to carry out a climate prosperity plan. There's a World Bank plan which I've read and which members may have already seen the draft of. So there is technical work going on here, but it's the policy level which needs to also be further pursued, I think.
Yeah, good point. You've correctly said that implementing the legislation would be far more challenging, I guess, than doing the oversight functions. The legislation we did may not be the perfect one, but I think if you compare with few other countries who have already got in place climate change acts, we are not that bad, I must say. Ministry would need a lot of assistance in implementing the act, and they might be having some difficulties, and this is what I'm hearing. It's nothing official, but some of the colleagues have shared some of the concerns with me, indicating that the need for technical assistance, especially for the Ministry and the Utility Regulatory Authority. The legislation, as you would probably know, has very clear timelines, reporting mechanisms, governance arrangements. So a lot of things are there, and we will soon be finding out, whether they are able to meet the timelines that we have specified in the legislation. And these are very early stages, and this is the right time again to provide technical and financial assistance to the government for them to implement the act properly. So I'm sure there will be more opportunities for us to interact. I think this is just a beginning, and you would come to know the issues that we face on the part of the committee in doing the oversight functions properly. And also equally important is to find out how the implementing agencies are doing.
Yeah. So something, just because we are not really working with the government directly under this project, and we're really focusing on the Parliament under the CSSF fund, I was just thinking, based on the conversations that we've had, would it be helpful to help the Climate Change Committee to properly scrutinize the implementation of the Climate Emergency Act, not as like a full-on pressure on all of the institutions, but to have a systematic approach to that kind of scrutiny that is required to accomplish the goals set in the Act? Would that be something?
Yeah, that would be very helpful. But if you could share such information and assistance to committee, that would help, and we could have a look at it. And I think that would facilitate us to do our work very well. I'm sure UK Parliament has a lot of experience in implementing and doing oversight functions for the climate legislation, and their experience would be very helpful. If you have a structured format or how that could be systematically carried out, and if that information could be shared with the committee, that would help us a lot.
Would it be useful for one of the Climate Change Committee in the UK to interact with your committee? I know the chair and the vice chair. And obviously there's a lot of resemblance with the two different acts.
Yes.
I mean, if that's something we could certainly facilitate if you want.
Yeah, that would help. Okay, Arish, do you have any more points to highlight?
No, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. If you don't have any more things to add, thank you so much again for this opportunity, and we will get back to you, Chair, with some sort of a plan for how we can carry on some of the things that we've discussed.
Okay. So look forward to that, and thank you once again. It's been very useful, and we look forward to working more closely so that we get the maximum help and assistance you could provide to us. Thank you so much, and we will end it there, this part of the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcus.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
අනේ මේ නැති දියුමුගේ බිරුහි වෙෆාවා දිරේතක තීගේ පයිනලකුවා මේ වෙෆාරි කුරුමුගේ බිල් අලුවන්ඩ ගස්තු කරන් මියද ගෙන්දෙවෙම වරක ගෙන්දන් වර බොඩක බිල් ෆෙන්නනක මල්ගොන්ඩ බලාලේ වුණකොත් මේක ගිනයි එනෙක්ස්ත අස්ලු බිල්ග හිමෙනනි එනෙක්ස්ත ගෙනවීම සංකොලේ බොඩක ඩොකියුමන්ට් ෆෙන්නනේ එකමකෝ මේගේ මාද්දාතන් එහා ගෙනෙන්නෝ ඉංගේතෝ එහෙම හිංගව ෆෂමා ආමුගතේ ගලවන්න මහ බිල්තම් මේ දිරාසා කුරා උසූලුම් මේ ෆුරතම අනේ බිලුගේ මාද්දාත තෆ්සීල් කො බෙලුමෝ කොනේ අලුවෙන් නිම්මාදෙන්ජේ බයිකංකන් එබෝරි ෆුරතම ගමකේ බිලුගේ සුංගඩි දෙවණකමකී අලුගන් මෙන් මේ බිල් දිරාසා කුරුමෝ බද්දල් කුරානේ මොස්සසාත කණ්ඩාලා ෆාස් කුරු මේ දෙ නුක්තාය මෙම්බරුන්ගේ හියාල් හොදම අලුගන් ආහුළුවාලා
අනුන් මේ හුෂාලන් මේ බිල්ගේ මාසක්කන් නිම්මන් 30 දුවස් ඒ හැමවීම 23 මාර්ච්
මේ
30 මාර්ච් කියනත් 30 මාර්ච් නෝලද
30 මාර්ච් හුෂාලි එහෙන් බෙෆලක මියන් යතරස් නුපරවාති ඒගොතත් දෙන් අලුගොන්ඩ කණ්ඩායමේ දැන් හිංගවා බිල් දිරාසා කුරුම ගාලුන් මෙන් බද්දු කුරානේ muassasata kandalama then bil hushala men environment ministry faratun ehem hama gamas environment ministry mege himenene then Maldives Customs Service, Police, Fisheries Ministry, Economic Ministry. Then ane mi evsvaraka wah dakkalento mi importer unna mi duuni nuni mi ekibavetoge Annan Health Ministry. Ehmema me list korevune environment ministry EPA nai ane Maldives Customs Service so mege importer unaki kobaka balala fa egatereng emme bodeti ting importer eradden komme bayka vis komme ane emme ginang mi idiretaketi import kora ting party Mihar ehme me list ki mingeto environment ministry ya Maldives Customs Service ya police fisheries ministry ya economic ministry ya health ministry ki terega HPS himene goton ebe fulan delegation fonuma de washibuna then EPA then importer nge tereng emme faha kore vetin importer yes direta ketiga bavetta then amuko comment an hulwalan kya muddatitto deni me member nimmevi en haftaage muddaten amuko website ko hulwaluma bil comment am faratta kon husheluma egiturun mi dennevi faratta ka algon men baddal ko committee malumat saaf kuragota den ebbaddal makatto kiyane none wakiwakin to gennani ebbaddal makak kiyane දෙබද්දලුම කහතමාත බද්දලුම එහා ගිනනවා ගොත එකෙද්ද තින හතරේ පහේ හය හතේ එහෙම බද්දලුම හතර පාටි බහාලාගේ දෙබද්දලුම කහද්ද දැන් බද්දලුම ඉන්තිසාම් විහා වහක අලුන් මෙ කොමිටි කුරියක් ගෙන්දා ගොත නේත එහෙම සුංගඩේ ගොත මේ කණ්ඩයලුනි මාච් මොහගේ තීරිස් දැන් අලුන් මෙ නිම්මි ආම්මුන්න කොමෙන්ට් එන් හෆ්තාන් හුළුවාලුම den alunu men minimmi kama behe mossasataka de baddalumakun huriha farattaka baddaluko comment hoda gota ehmema egota masakke alunu men rawaluma fa miyada committee ge baddalun immalan wara boda shukriya